One of the most beloved superheroes is the young and friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. As the latest film Spider-Man Homecoming and its predecessor films have shown, Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, can do everything a spider can. But did you know that he has many other awesome superpowers? Want to find out what other powers Spidey has? Watch our video to find out. Before we get started, swing on over to that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Spidey and comic book related. You won't regret it.
Bad for the public image, right, Mr. Key to the City?
What did you do to her?
I did what you failed to do. I was there for her.
Talk to spiders. Being able to communicate with their insect namesakes, or an arachnid in Spider-Man's case, sounds like something only Ant-Man and the Wasp can do. If these insect-based heroes can talk to creatures that inspired their powers, doesn't it make sense for Spider-Man to be able to talk to spiders? We think so. It turns out that our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man develops the ability to communicate with his eight-legged friends after the other storyline, when he emerges from a cocoon with extra powers. Although there might be cooler powers out there, and his power to communicate with spiders doesn't seem significant, it actually allowed him to save hundreds of lives. In the comic book Scarlet Spider number 5, Peter's clone Kane has taken up the titular mantle. He and Wally Layton are racing against the clock to find and dismantle a bomb that the Watchdogs planted somewhere in Houston. Then Kane realizes he has the ability to communicate with spiders. The spiders point them towards the Houston underground, where Kane tears into the bomb to dismantle it. Spiders aren't always so scary, they're actually good guys. We wonder how many spiders have actually saved us from imminent danger.
I'm being serious. I can't just drop out of school.
Might be a little dangerous. Better tell Aunt Hottie I'm taking her to field trip.
Don't tell Aunt May.
Grow extra limbs. Spider-Man is usually depicted as a friendly neighborhood humanoid with 2 arms and 2 legs. Those arms and legs serve him well, allowing him to do all the things spiders do with very little effort, as well as still do everything a human can do, all while blending in perfectly. But as any first grader can tell you, however, that a spider has 8 appendages, not 4. So it looks like Spider-Man can do what a spider does, he just doesn't look like one. Have you ever wondered what our favorite web slinger would look like if he were more spidery? Well, unfortunately for Peter Parker, he actually once ended up with 8 limbs. He had a total of 6 arms and 2 legs to make up the difference. In 1971's The 6 Arms Saga, Peter is fed up with his spider side and wants nothing more than to be a regular dude. He concocts an untested formula to get rid of his powers. After he drinks it, he falls into a fitful sleep, dreaming about fighting all of his enemies. When he wakes up, whoops, he has 6 arms. Luckily, Dr. Kirk Connors helps him with an antidote, or else we would have had a very different Spidey. For those of you who love ad-free viewing and free things, we're excited to announce the Premium Network. The Premium gets you early access to videos from CBR, The Gamer, Screen Rant, and many other great channels. Literally thousands of videos in one place with ad-free browsing. How sweet is that? Sign up for the Premium by clicking the link to start binge-watching videos from your favorite channels. Super Genius Intellect. We all know the phrase, with great power comes great responsibility. But we also know this great power and responsibility doesn't always come with great intellect or common sense for that matter. But luckily for our boy Peter Parker, he was already a science whiz kid before that radioactive spider bit him. Even Reed Richards and Hank Pym have acknowledged that Peter is almost as smart as they are. After becoming Spider-Man, he uses his super genius intelligence not only to craft devices to help him fight crime, but also to develop power-enhancing formulas and antidotes, and hack into someone else's tech, of course. Because what's genius level intellect if you can't make some cool stuff, right? Peter Parker uses his super smarts in almost every situation, but it came particularly handy during Marvel's Civil War storyline. Fellow genius Brainiac and superhero Tony Stark gives Pete the Iron Spider suit, which has all kinds of upgraded tech and armor, of course. When Spider-Man switches to Captain America's side, he hacks into the suit to kill the remote shutoff function, proving he's as smart, if not smarter, than the billionaire playboy, just like we see him do in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Is that Max? He must have cut the power to the whole city.
Night vision. Along with multiple limbs, spiders also have a couple pairs of eyes. Considering Spider-Man remains relatively human in terms of his aesthetic and appearance, he only has 2 eyeballs. But does he also have the amazing vision that spiders have? Or are his 2 peepers limited to just human vision? Well, first off, Spider-Man has never really had a terrific amount of difficulty fighting his enemies at night. He lives in New York City, the city that never sleeps, where streetlights chase away the dark and the shadows. Plus, his mask helps him keep his sight sharp. At one point, though, Peter Parker does does develop true night vision, much to his surprise. In the other storyline, Spider-Man gets bitten nearly to death by Morlun. With his last ounce of strength, Spider-Man takes out Morlun, then seemingly passes. Actually, he shed his mortal skin and slept in a cocoon under the Brooklyn Bridge, where a voice tells him to embrace his other side, his spider side. After he emerges from the cocoon, he discovers he has new powers. It looks like this otherworldly journey paid off. His newly acquired night vision allows him to rescue several people who are trapped under the building that exploded.
Well, I could have stuck the landing a little better. It's just a new suit. Wait, it's nothing, Mr. Stark. It's perfect. Thank you.
Increased healing. We love superheroes because they are just like us, except of course with cool costumes, superpowers, and abilities. We love them and the powers we could only dream of in our wildest imaginations. Some of the standard powers are flight and speed, but we know that every great superhero needs to be able to take a licking and keep on ticking. Otherwise, they'd have a hard time fighting bad guys constantly and protecting people. Along with Spider-Man's increased speed and insanely fast metabolism, he also possesses super healing, which we think is probably one of the coolest powers any superhero could have. He's been beaten to a bloody pulp and even been shot at, but after a good night's sleep, Spidey is ready and raring to go for justice. One time Spidey was so badly burned he was unrecognizable. In Amazing Spider-Man number 700.4, the Black Lodge found him and, thinking he was one of their own, took him to their hospital to patch him up. They discovered his true identity, however, and torched the place. After rescuing everyone inside the building, an exhausted Spider-Man went home to bed, where he made a full recovery. Not too bad for a recovery time, huh?
Did I not emphasize the tearing up reality part enough? Miles, Spider-Man, please, I need your help. I can't do it without you.
Camouflage. As many of us know, everything has to come to an end, right? Even the best of us get older and have to hang up our cape, metaphorically speaking for us, of course. Peter Parker's reign as the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man came to an end when he passed away. After the death of Spider-Man, Miles Morales emerges as the new webbed wonder in Ultimate Fallout number 4. Miles has powers that are similar to Peter Parker's, but he can do something that the original Spider-Man couldn't: camouflage. Miles first discovered he could camouflage himself after he takes off during a fight between his father and his uncle. He realizes that half of him is seemingly disappeared into the building behind him. After some training, Miles effectively uses his ability to camouflage himself during fights. He can become invisible to an opponent, only to reappear someone else and wallop him, which is pretty useful for any hero. In one instance, Miles purposely camouflaged himself to escape the police and S.H.I.E.L.D. when they wanted to catch him and remove his mask.
Super sticky webs. He'll be trying to get that off for weeks. Or milliseconds.
Resistance to radiation. Spider-Man's origin story is well known. In fact, it's so well known, the new Spider-Man Homecoming film decided to leave it out of the movie. We've seen it many times before. Although the setting and circumstances have been changed occasionally, the crux of the story is that Peter is bitten by a radioactive spider who transfers his powers to him. That radiation is actually more than just a vessel for Spider-Man's amazing powers. What else did this pesky arachnid give to Peter? Well, it also gives Peter an immunity to radiation of any kind. Now that's pretty cool, but this doesn't mean you should go out and find a spider to bite you. It won't work. We've tried. Trust us. Spider-Man encounters Morlun for the first time in the Amazing Spider-Man number 30. Morlun arrives to feed on Spider-Man because he's a totem, a link between humans and spiders. Morlun beats up Spidey, but it wasn't all bad, as Peter was able to snag a sample of Morlun's blood. After testing it, he realizes Morlun is vulnerable to radiation. Peter juices up with an incredible amount of radiation so that Morlun feeds on him again. Morlun perishes while Spider-Man lives. Looks like it's very important to watch what you eat, isn't it?
Cap, have you tried your shield time with Thor's hammer?
We've run through every option we've got, Spider-Man.
Not every option.
See the future. Aside from the many cool powers we've already mentioned, what else could be cooler than speed healing, immunity to radiation, and night vision? Any guesses? How about being able to see into the future? We know that Spider-Man has always had the advantage of premonition on his side. His famous spider sense has saved his skin time and time again. Although his spider sense gives him the look of Medusa in the comic books, it's one of the best powers a superhero can have. He's avoided punches and bullets, and he's been alerted to danger in the nearby vicinity, even when he couldn't see it. Now, if only people Peter had Miles Morales' camouflage ability, he'd be set. Kane's spider sense is more powerful. The clone can actually see the future, not just get an idea something is about to happen in the next moment. He can't control his power and choose what he sees, but rather, he gets visions of events to come. For instance, in The Spectacular Spider-Man number 222, Kane is in the middle of sorting clones from the true Peter Parker when he gets a vision of Mary Jane's death in the future. That's pretty useful, isn't it?
Hold on. If he's there... Whoa! It's like an illusion. An illusion. Uh-oh.
SuperSpeed. Superheroes have enhanced abilities and amazing powers, each one with a distinct set of characteristics. When it comes to our favorite webhead, Spider-Man is expected to be agile and acrobatic, exactly like a spider would be, except less creepy crawly. Ugh. One of his superpowers that is often overlooked is Spider-Man's speed. He's been known to swing from building to building for 2 miles in 5 seconds. He would love to travel around the city that way. It sure beats traffic, doesn't it? Let's be frank, at that speed, there has definitely got to be more than just webbing propelling Spidey through the air. His speed has helped him avoid punches and even dodge bullets. This power is pretty important for a hero, so let's give it some props. Spider-Man used his super speed when he attacked Luke Cage's mansion during Civil War before he switched sides. He burst into the home and took on a room full of SWAT team officers, as well as Scarlet Witch and Hawkeye. Spider-Man was so fast that he was just a blur, and he managed to take out several people without even being seen. It looks like he can do whatever a spider can, and a whole lot more.
Better do your research, Parker. Get it done, or I'm failing you.
Organic webbing. Peter Parker is known for being pretty much a super genius, rivaling even Tony Stark. So it's only natural that, like Tony, he also creates his own gadgets and experiments. Although, of course, not with as much financial backing as Tony. For decades, Peter Parker used the web shooters he built himself, which included synthetic webbing he also created. His web shooters gave him the ability to travel through New York City, to restrain villains, to create safety nets, and do a lot of other cool, clever things. He even experimented with creating different types of webbing. Of course, like with anything, there's a downside. The downside to having these devices is that if they break or run out of fluid, Spider-Man loses one of his greatest powers.
What are you doing up there?
Staying away from you. That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you?
Those were some pretty awesome powers. Did any of these surprise you? Which one did you know about already? Are there any that we missed? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and share. And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and check out our awesome playlist. Thanks for watching.